Yes!
It's definitely no secret that in Destiny 2, scout rifles don't have the best reputation in both PvP and PvE. However, in this video, we'll discuss ways to make scout rifles feel more forgiving in PvE activities, as well as what scout rifles I would highly suggest that you get your hands on. The title of this video is How to Optimize Scout Rifles, which means that I'll be giving you tips on how to make your scout rifles feel and perform better. That's it. This is a guide on how to make scout rifles feel more forgiving, not overpower or better than every other primary weapon in the game. You've been warned. Also, I'll go ahead and inform you that everything in this video will be in regards to PvE, as I've never been a fan to using scouts in PvP, even back in Destiny 1. But without further ado, let's get it in. First off, let's talk about why scout rifles are looked over. When I ask people why they don't use scout rifles in Destiny 2, the most common reason is because they don't feel powerful, especially when compared to the scout rifles in Destiny 1. Now, if you're one of these people, I completely understand where you're coming from, but there are several things that you gotta realize and factor in. Balancing weapons in Destiny 2 is a lot more difficult than what it was in Destiny 1, because in Destiny 2, weapons classified as primary can be present in the kinetic and energy slots, but in D1, all primary weapons were confined to the primary slot, so it was relatively easy to balance hand cannons, pulse rifles, scout rifles, and auto rifles for PvE. In D2, sidearms, hand cannons, pulse rifles, auto rifles, scout rifles, and bows, which made their debut in the Forsaken DLC, are all primary weapons, and as mentioned previously, they exist in the kinetic and energy slots. To make matters worse, energy weapons deal less damage in PvE, and each weapon is exclusive to each slot, and as a resultant, a lot of weapons don't see a lot of play due to certain weapon combinations not being possible. For example, Not Forgotten is an energy hand cannon, and Dust Rot Blues is a kinetic shotgun, and this combination literally ran the Crucible for months on end because at the time there didn't exist a combination as forgiving as this one if the weapon slots were reversed. It would be a different story if you could choose for your weapon to be kinetic or energy, and maybe this wouldn't be a problem, but a part of me believes that Bungie designed the weapon system the way that they did to avoid overcomplicating things. Another thing that you have to realize is that scout rifles have a lot more competition in Destiny 2 than they did in Destiny 1. In my opinion, bows seem to be a lot more forgiving than scout rifles in the sense that they deal a lot of crit damage, and they give you the feeling of using a special weapon that takes primary ammo due to their sheer power. Many would say that bows bridge the gap between sniper rifles and scout rifles and basically have the benefits of both weapons, and I've even been told that bows aren't affected by damage drop-off. Now, I haven't tested this myself to see if it's true, so this could be completely incorrect. Let me know if this is true in the comment section. Now, from what I've seen, scout rifles also have to compete with hand cannons. Hand cannons, like scouts, are semi-automatic but have significantly more damage output and stopping power, but don't have as much ammo reserves as well as smaller magazines. As a matter of fact, hand cannons have replaced all of the scout rifles that I either used to use or would have used in my everyday PvE loadouts. In year 1 of Destiny 2, the community constantly asked for a real sense of power fantasy, and Bungie's response to this was to make almost every weapon in the game capable of rolling kill clip, rampage, or some sort of damage increasing perk starting in year 2. So even if a weapon wasn't all that powerful, it still had a fighting chance if it were to roll one of these perks. Now that we're on the subject of perks, I got a few suggestions that you should look out for. But before I get into that, there's a few simple things that you need to realize. Scout rifles are semi-automatic weapons that fire one round at a time. Redundant, and I'm pretty sure you realize this, but what you may not realize is that in order for scouts to actually feel strong, you have to make every one of those rounds count. It shouldn't have to be like this, but as stated previously, there are a lot of weapons in the game that do the same thing that scouts do, but better. But scout rifles are by no means pushover weapons, and the goal here is to mitigate as many of the weaknesses of scout rifles as we possibly can. Scouts are odd in the sense that for the most part, they rely more heavily on getting the right roll in order for their true potential to be brandished. And in regards to the suggested perks, I'll go ahead and say that I've used all of these perks on every weapon that they were available on, and as each perk is being discussed, I'll also explain how they countervail the weaknesses of scouts. Rapid Hit became my favorite perk for scout rifles, and an almost must-have if I'm using a scout rifle capable of rolling this perk. Randy's Throwing Knife, the Season 8 PvP Ritual Scout Rifle, comes with Rapid Hit and Kill Clip, and this perk combo has some amazing things going for it. Rapid Hit is basically a combination of Zen Moment and Outlaw in the sense that it gives you an increased reload speed and stability after 5 rapid hits. And believe me when I say that the increases to stability and reload speed are super noticeable. Scout rifles don't usually have the best reload speeds and perform pretty decently with low stability, but Rapid Hit makes almost every scout rifle I've used feel like a completely different weapon. And the cool thing about this is that it procs from precision hits instead of requiring precision kills like something like Outlaw would. Now, I've used Rapid Hit on Randy's Throwing Knife a lot, as well as the Patron on Lost Causes, and and it seems like this perk feels a lot better on these weapons since they fire so quickly and become a laser beam after landing 5 crits. The rapid hit and kill clip combo on Randy's throwing knife makes short work of most, if not all, minor and major enemies, and also makes this weapon amazing in both PvP and PvE. And speaking of kill clip, I'll go ahead and say that there's a lot of competition between this perk and Rampage in Destiny 2. I also go ahead and say that Rampage is more PvE oriented, whereas kill clip works well in PvE as well, but is usually better suited for PvP. Due to the fact that scout rifles fire 1 round at a time, they're better suited for dealing with a single target and or crit spot at a time instead of taking on an ad clear role. And this reason alone is why I never really liked Rampage on scout rifles. Kill clip on the other hand complements scout rifles amazingly because its upkeep time doesn't rely on rapid kills like that of Rampage. All you need is a single kill, and every round that you fire for the next 5 seconds receives a 33% damage increase. The only way that you can make Rampage this forgiving for scouts is if your scout rifle has the Rampage spec mod equipped, which increases the uptime of Rampage for an extra second, making Rampage last 4.5 seconds instead of 3.5. Also, it takes 3 stacks of Rampage to grant your weapon an extra 33% damage, so you would have to kill 3 adds in order to get the same damage increase that kill clip grants. All of these reasons make kill clip much more forgiving for scouts than Rampage. Even though I said that scout rifles aren't my go-to weapons for ad clear, it's still very possible for them to fulfill that role. In D1, scouts were the go-to primary weapons for many people in most, if not all, PvE content. That's because in Destiny 1 we had access to amazing perk combinations such as triple tap and Firefly, which was a popular perk combo back then. In Destiny 2, Firefly was renamed to Dragonfly as an attempt to remove the fiery and or solar connotation of the perk, on account of this perk benefiting weapons of the arc and void elements as well, meaning that the element of the explosion will always match the element of the weapon itself. Dragonfly has been criticized in Destiny 2 and has been referred to as an inferior version of Firefly, and combined with the fact that this perk can't roll on kinetic weapons, it's definitely safe to say that Dragonfly isn't as sought after in Destiny 2 as Firefly was in Destiny 1. However, the Dragonfly spec mod makes Dragonfly almost as lethal as D1's Firefly by increasing the blast radius and damage of the Dragonfly perk. And speaking of triple tap, this is also one of my all-time favorite perks for scouts. Triple tap moves 1 round for your weapon's reserves to the magazine after landing 3 rapid crits, and if your aim is good, you can land a lot more extra hits on the enemy provided that every shot is a crit. Triple tap gives scout rifles a minor DPS role and enables you to pump out some pretty good damage against enemies with bigger crit spots. There have been times when I've been bone dry on heavy and special ammo and was able to deal some pretty decent damage against mini bosses after repeatedly shooting a crit spot. Recently, I dropped the Nameless Midnight with triple tap, and with a backup mod equipped, I could land about 25 hits provided that all of them are crit shots. Now, this math may not be right, so correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong, but anyways, that's why I love triple tap. It does an amazing job at countervailing that 1 round fire at a time shortcoming of scouts. Slow reload speed can make a weapon feel sluggish and give you the facade that the entire weapon is performing poorly. Now, if you have a pair of void gauntlets, you can apply the scout rifle reloader mod for 1 energy point or a double stacker for 2. Now, if you don't own this mod, the rifle loader perk does the same exact thing and works with all elemental affinities. However, it costs 5 energy points due to the fact that it grants a reload speed bonus to all rifle class weapons and not just scouts exclusively. You also can get a much faster reload speed via the aforementioned rapid hit perk, but if your preferred scout rifle can't roll rapid hit, go for outlaw since it'll only take 1 precision kill for it to proc. Alright everybody, that does it for this one. As stated in the beginning of this video, the endeavor of this guy is to shed some light on how to make scout rifles feel more forgiving by using certain perks and perk combinations. Unfortunately, scout rifles won't feel as amazing as they did in D1 until Bungie figures out how to buff them appropriately. In the comment section, tell me if you use scout rifles despite where they stand in the PvE meta. If you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor and thumb wrestle that like button until it turns blue. And if you're new to my neck of the woods, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon so you don't ever miss a video of the most elite gaming content. But with that being stated, 1LHD is over and out. Y'all take it easy.